All right, so the game plan is to finish off current liabilities. We'll talk about paychecks. And I'm going to do a quick jump and we're going to do a share screen. And when I talk about payroll, and I'm going to ask if you can come off mute, can somebody tell me how many weeks in a year?
52.
52 weeks in a year. I'm going to round down to 50. Let's get 2 weeks of vacation in there somewhere. And how many, somebody else, how many hours in a week are we going to work typically on a job?
40.
40 hour, that makes sense, 40 hours. So somebody else, can you multiply 50 times 40 and come up with a number for me?
200.
Let's see, 50 hours, 200, 50 times 40 would be?
2,000.
2,000, we got a winner, thank you. All right, so about 2,000 hours in a year, actually 2080, technically, you're right, there's 2 more weeks, but I'm gonna round with a 2,000 hour number. So if we're looking at hours, we're gonna say, if I'm making 10 bucks an hour, how much is that a year? Well, if I multiply 10 hours, 10 by 2,000, I get $20,000 a year. Okay. I told you we're getting paid 20 bucks an hour. What do we do with that? What's 20 times 2,000? Oh, that's
40,000.
Thank you. Now let's go do a little division here. If I told you I was making 60,000 a year, so how much would that be per hour?
30.
30.
30. 60,000 divided by $2,000 per hour, I get 30 bucks an hour. Okay, so now you've got an ideal ballpark of how you can mix and match hours, numbers, and get a perspective. Someone says, I'm making 12 bucks an hour. Okay, 12 times 2 is 24, so that's 24,000 a year. I'm making 18 bucks. Oh, 18 times 2, that's 36,000. All right, so we've got some numbers to work with, some numbers we can play with. We're going to come back to that in a little while when we talk about our paychecks. And we're going to play with our paycheck and see, some people will be scared, some people will be reassured of how much we need to make when we graduate to support our lifestyles of what we're doing. All right, so I'm going to go in and let's go ahead and I'm going to share with our next two. We started with payroll last round. And I'm going to just do a quick review of portion of the screen. And we had our net pay. You might make $1,000 on a paycheck, but obviously that's not what you deposit in the bank. There are withholdings and there are deductions. So let's talk about the withholdings first. Federal and state withholdings. Those are tax withholdings that the business holds on to. They create a liability, a payable on their front, and they deduct it from your paycheck. The business doesn't get to keep it. The business will eventually, as a payable, credit cash, debit the payable, pay it off. There might be voluntary deductions. We'll take a look at some of those. Why? Health insurance, union dues, anything else you make a donation to United Way. And then there's that Fica, the 6.2 Medicare and the 1.45 Social Security for a total of 7.65%. And again, the business is going to hold on to that because government doesn't trust us to pay our taxes. They know that the business will pay the taxes because they're on the hook. And then we asked the question last class, who likes a big refund? Well, I hate big refunds because that's a free interest-free loan I give to the government. But some people like them because it's kind of a forced savings. It feels like a bonus. So if you get $3,000 in withholdings and your tax bill is $2,000, you're going to get $1,000 back and you're going to say thank you. Except you realize that's your money is $1,000. It's not the government's money. And you did pay $2,000 in taxes. And then again, taxes are part of life. Nothing wrong with it. That's part of the services we get, the communities we contribute to, and what we support. So we're going to go through a couple more slides and talk about this and then go down to our paycheck. So let's look at the FICA. Again, our 6.2 and our 1.45. This is also matched by the employee. So not only is there 7.65% that you are paying but there's another 7.65% that your employer is paying. So 7.65 times 2 or added together, that's 15.3% of what you make is going to be written a check to pay Social Security, which is your retirement ultimately, and Medicare for medical form of insurance, like that, for all kinds of support tools, support reasons. So, and when I asked the question, do you think that if the business didn't have to pay the 7.65, you could get a raise? Probably. If you didn't have to pay the 7.65, you'd get a raise? Yep, immediately. But again, those are monies that are paid towards the common good, the common welfare, and ultimately your retirement. And the government tends to like to borrow from the Social Security Fund because it seems like they have some money that the government needs. And there's some other stories that go with that. There's your income tax. Again, it's a withholding. It's a liability of the company, but it's out of your pocket. And you're going to get credit for it when you file your tax return at the end of the year. There may be voluntary deductions. Could be pension contributions like a 401k that is often matched. It's kind of smart to contribute to your own 401k. Not only do you get an immediate match, usually often a dollar for dollar on the first couple of percentage points of whatever you contribute, but you also, I'm going to give you an insight here. If you start paying every month into a fund from age 20 to 27 and stopped, at age 65, you would have more money than if you started paying at 27 until you were 65. So if you paid for 7 years up front and stopped paying, or started at age 27 and paid for 38 years, that latter example, you'd have less money because of compounding. And the problem is when you're 27, you're probably starting a family, you might be starting to have kids. You're not going to have a lot of excess cash. You're going to be spending what you take in probably, and you may not be able to set that aside anyways. So I'm going to lobby for pay yourself first, take 10% of whatever you make and put it away towards retirement, towards pension, towards rainy day, or maybe towards a house down payment or whatever else, but pay yourself first. That's some powerful numbers, and we can talk more about that if you like down the road. So here's a journal entry. Employee payroll, $2,000 paycheck, not including other deductions, not including union dues, not including 401k contribution, not including your portion of health insurance. But FICA, Social Security, FICA, Medicare, federal and state withholdings. Oh, they do have medical insurance. They do on their $85. And they do have dues. There we go. So deductions, $1,500 roughly. It's about $500 taken out. And again, the FICA is going to be matched by your employer. So let's look at employer payroll taxes. They're going to pay that 7.65% that you do. And that's probably a number you want to remember. 7.65%. Yeah, you might see that on a quiz or test. And then we have FUTA and SUTA. This is something you normally don't see and just the business will pay. On the first $7,000 of wages for each employee per year, this is a contribution to the unemployment funds, both for the federal level and the state level. And how do they record this? Well, in that $2,000 paycheck, another over 10% of monies is being paid, about 13.5%, is being paid for FICA and SUTA and FUTA in this example. Which is why often a business would love to have subcontractors and not employees. And eventually we'll have to record vacation obligations too. We're going to have a accrue for vacations and make adjustments. So this is some of the employee and employer stuff that we talk about when we're looking at wages and the journal entries that go with that. And you'll probably see a quiz on Monday, not Friday probably, but probably Monday on payroll taxes and payroll. So you want to make sure you're well-versed and understand payroll. Okay. But let's go over back to our whiteboard. And let's talk about a paycheck. And I'm going to go ahead and clear the screen. And I'm going to go into our payroll. And let's say we got a paycheck. We got a $2,000 paycheck. So let's go ahead and take some deductions out of this. And we're going to go around. Please come off mute. And anybody that wants to chip in, or I'll get to call on you. I'd rather have you volunteer. But we're going to start with some withholdings. And then we're going to start with some tax, the FICA stuff. Then we're going to talk about some other expenses like rent and utilities or anything else we might be deducting in a month. So let's say we made $2,000 a month. And my question to you is, how much an hour is that? First question. So $2,000 a month, that's $24,000 a year. At $24,000 divided by 2,000 hours, how much is that per hour rather?
12.
You got it, 12 an hour. Okay. So that gives you an idea of what we're dealing with. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to color code this, kind of pop over. Let's keep it red. I can't. Yes, I can actually. And come out of here and then create text there. Okay, so let's start making some deductions. So who wants to tell me what, we'll start with federal taxes. Let's say 20% federal withholding. Okay. Actually, let's drop that. What are we going to do? Let's make, because at 2,000, 24,000, the marginal will not be there. Let's make it 10%. So who can tell me what 10% of 2,000 is?
200.
You got 200. Yep, drop to decimal. 10% is federal withholding. Let's look at state withholding. Let's just say we want, let's do another, let's do 5. I'm going to be generous right now. 5%. What's 5% of 2,000? What's that?
That'd be 100.
That'd be 100, half of the 10%. You got it. Okay. Now we're going to get fancy. Who can tell me what 7.65% of 2,000 is? We take 7.5 times 2. What do we get? 7.65. 10% is 100. 5% would be 50.
153.
153. Let's round it for easy calculation. Let's do 150. FICA. SS. All right. Off to a good start. Anything else? I said pay yourself first, right? So let's do a 401k contribution or pension contribution, 10%. What's 10%?
200.
You already did.
That'd be 200 again.
Maybe 200 again, you bet. So now we're going to do a round table. This is what's coming out of our paychecks right now. So let's go ahead. Someone who hasn't actually given me a number, give me a monthly spending that you pay to live. What's some of the monthly costs you're going to have when you graduate and have a job? Do you have any expenses that they pay during the month?
Phone bill,
Got a
car
phone bill,
insurance.
okay. Let's start with a phone bill. Phone bill, what do you got? Give me a ballpark dollar amount.
50 per month.
$50 a month. Okay. Yeah, I don't get it. My youngest daughter spends over $100 a month on a phone, and she's got an hourly type role. Yes, I do make more. I'm the guy that pays $20, $25 a month because I buy a phone and get full feature, and I get a decent phone. But I don't understand. So 50 sounds like a reasonable estimate. All right, somebody else, give me another expense you have during the month.
Electric bill?
What's that?
Electric bill?
Utilities, excellent. So how much in utilities a month? So let's call it electricity, water. Okay. And how much you talking about roughly ballpark? Any estimates?
Like 200, 250?
That sounds like a
Yeah,
reasonable
I
estimate.
mean, that's about average for what I'm paying right now, so, yeah.
Okay, let's be conservative. We'll go with 200. We'll try to make it easy on the budget. Okay. Anything else? Kelton, you want to take a shot? What else might you spend some money on? Off mute, please. Kelton?
Repeat the question again?
What else might you spend during the month to live? We got a paycheck of $2,000. We're deducting our expenses for the month. We started by deducting the withholdings for federal and state taxes, the FICA. We set aside some pension monies. We've got our phone covered. We got a
Will
utility.
we use, I guess,
Something else you gotta spend money on.
will rent expense be part of it?
Say again?
Rent expense,
Rent,
expense?
you bet. You gotta live someplace. Cool. How much in rent would you estimate here in Florence? That if you had to rent an apartment? I'll keep away from mortgages for now. What's a ballpark rent or range that you think you might be paying for rent?
Mine's 750, so you could probably put 800 if you want to round up.
So 800, is that one bedroom or two bedroom?
That's a 1 bedroom.
One bedroom, it's about 800. Anybody, is that
This
about,
a single person?
anybody else want to have some input? Because rent's a pretty good significant number.
I mean, I'm in Sumter, but I pay 650.
Okay. Let's kind of average that out, 650, 800, let's make it 700. Just to give it some reasonable balance. All right. Ray, got something else you want to spend some money on in the month?
What about car insurance?
Oh, car insurance. I like, so let's do car and we'll do car insurance. I like that. How much you got under 25? Car insurance is not friendly to the budget. How much in car insurance a month? And anybody can chip in.
Are we talking one car or two?
Hopefully one. We're just talking to yourself. Let's just.
Oh, okay. Well then,
You're single
I
22
mean,
graduated.
single 22 graduated. Are we talking tickets? No tickets?
Ballpark. Yeah, hopefully you don't have it. Let's say no tickets. Let's say we're all cautious and safe. I used
Okay.
to year.
Probably 175 ish.
How much?
175, 200.
About 200. Is that reasonable? Is that a ballpark? Anybody else paying more or less?
I pay 160.
160?
Yes, sir.
160. Okay, so 160, 200. Anybody else?
I mean, I pay 150, so yeah, probably between 150, 200.
All right, well, again, let's be conservative. You're going to drive a beater anyways. You're not going to have too much other on just the liability as the catcher. How about a car? Now, I want to talk about that for a second. Think about you graduate, you say, I deserve a new car. So what are you going to do? You go to the car dealer and they're going to say, you deserve a new car. And they're going to show you something nice, shiny, and smells good. And you're going to say, how much is that? They say, well, you can either take out a loan, give us a $2,000 down payment. You say, but I just graduated. I got about 500 graduation presents, but that's not 2,000. Oh, we can give you a 7-year loan. Don't do it.
No.
Why? Because the nice 2-door car that you're going to get when you graduate on a 7-year loan, and maybe 2 years later, and then I'm extrapolating, maybe 2 years later you get married, and a year later you have a kid or twins. That $2 ain't going to cut it. 2-door ain't going to cut it anymore. So you now need a 4-door, and you got 4 years left on your loan. And what you've been paying mostly in the early years is interest anyways. And you're upside down for a good part of that. So that if you total your car after 6 months, you're still going to owe more money. You're not going to, then you can collect. Unless you have gap insurance, but we won't go down that track. Yes, I used to sell cars and Chrysler, Jeep, and Kia. So I'm intimately familiar. So, all right, so you're not going to get a 7-year loan. Maybe you get a 3-year loan at a stretch for, hopefully you've got enough cash to buy a beater from your graduation presents. And then you don't have a car payment. But on average, what kind of car payment might you have? Anybody want to talk about what kind of car payments they think they might have when they graduate?
I had almost almost $8,000 car loan for 4 years, and I was paying $163.48 a month or something like that. Like
Okay.
163 and some change.
Okay, used car, 8 grand, let's put 150 in there, around the 163 down. You want to be a little conservative, which is better than being ostentatious. And by the way, I'll give you one more example. The other thing they'll tell you is, better than buying it, why don't you lease it? Leases are great for the car dealership. You do a 3-year lease, and 3 years from now, they know they're going to get a used car back that they can resell. They're going to know that you're going to need transportation because you're not going to have a car because you have to give it back. And you're going to be on the hook to do something. So leases are normally a bad idea. I had a client with the dealership when I was selling, bought a Jeep Grand Cherokee, and they would make a 5-mile commute back and forth to work every day. So they were putting in 50 miles a week just for work. So times 50 weeks, that's 2,500 miles. And they take occasional weekend trip. When you drive over 12,000, now sometimes 10,000 miles on a car and you lease it, you have to pay a premium per mile. So you have to pay per mile when you give the car back because you used it more than they gave you. They give you like 12,000 miles a year. So these folks wanted to trade in their Jeep and they came in and said, great, we want to get a new Jeep. I said, cool, except you got a whole bunch of miles over than what the estimate was. They go, yeah, we had a sick parent about 250 miles away upstate. We had to drive every weekend to see them. We put a heck of a lot more miles than we thought we were going to on our leased vehicle. I said, you do realize that there's a penalty, mileage penalty, and if you're trading this thing in, and this is actually before the lease was over, you're trading this in, that's going to be factored in. And they realized that they were really upside down and real deep doo-doo trying to figure out how to get another car out of the deal because they had a whole bunch of miles. I was driving 40,000 miles a year at the time, and they only had 12,000 miles, but they put a whole bunch because of the sickness of the family. So again, beware of lease. I've leased a car once in my life, and that was for business purposes, and it was from a client. It was a Chevy dealership, and at the time I needed a vehicle and didn't have the financing to go ahead and buy a car, which I violated my own, but it was for business. And I went ahead and did lease a car. Ended up when I returned it, it had a dent in it. I had to fix the dent before I returned the car. And it wasn't my fault, but still it was under the deductible. So I had to go ahead and take care of the car. So leasing is also one of those other bad ideas. All right. Byron, got anything else you want to spend on during the month? Or is that pretty complete? Go ahead and come off mute.
Yeah, it looks about complete.
Pretty complete? So you're gonna go on a crash diet? Not much during the month? That's pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
I could lose a few pounds that way.
Yeah.
Now, food would probably be good. How much a month would you think of for food expense? Groceries. Not going out to eat, just food from grocery stores.
I mean, it depends on how you eat. If you're eating healthy, it's going to be a little bit more.
Agreed.
Let's see, for one person, I don't know, probably $50 a week.
Okay, Byron, what do you think? How much might you spend a week?
I say 100 a week.
Okay, yeah, 50 to 100 is a good range. I had somebody in the last class trying to tell me $60 a month, and I said, 60 a month, 30 days, that's $2 a day. That's a lot of ramen.
Yeah.
Far. But yeah, I think the 200 is probably, yeah, 75 a week. Yeah, if like $300 a month is $10 a day, roughly. And yeah, you can have 3 meals a day. You know, breakfast is cheap, a couple eggs, some bread, some sandwiches, and then dinner. Yeah, you can do this, maybe 200-300. So why don't we put 250 in there as a ballpark for food? All right. Anything else you're going to spend money on?
If you have a car, you're gonna have to pay gas to get the
Oh,
car.
wow. You need gas, you need maintenance. By the way, if you ever buy a used car, put $500 in the bank. Whether you pay $1,200, $5,000, or $20,000 for a used car. Put $500 in the bank, and within the first 90 days, you'll probably spend most of it. It might be a tune-up, it might be tires, it might be a battery, it might be an alternator, it might be brakes, it might be who knows what. But put some money away until you buy a used car plan for it. I had one daughter try to tell me, I can get this beater. I got a super deal. I said, okay, what's your first maintenance bill going to be? And we had it inspected, and she realized there was a lot of work to be done on the car. So go ahead. Let's talk about gas maintenance. How much in gas? Let's start with gas a month. Okay, so that was good insight. How much?
What kind of car are we talking about?
And ballpark average. And what you're spending now? You're commuting to school. It's like going to be commuting to work. Could be whatever car you have.
Like 20 bucks
Okay.
a week.
About 20 a week. Okay, so about 80 a month, roughly.
Golly, y'all get good gas mileage then.
I got
Yeah,
like,
good gas mileage. You want good gas mileage if you can get away with it. Any other ballparks? Any other ranges?
I
I
mean-
drive. Ooh, sorry.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
I drive a Forerunner, and I have to fill up every like week and a half, and it's about $45 to like $55.
So 50 bucks every week and a half. So that's over $100 a month.
Right, and that's me traveling to school, driving to work, and stuff like that.
Okay, so let's say, so let's say 100. We'll be generous, and if we're saying 20 to 25 bucks a week, and so let's say 100 bucks a month, and maybe some maintenance in there. You want to put some set aside because you are using tires, you're using up stuff, using your brakes. So let's go ahead and add to the 100 bucks. We'll add another set aside. Yeah, let's add another. We'll do 125 on gas and maintenance. You know what? Yeah, that'll be conservative. Okay. Yeah, about 300 a year in maintenance. You know what? I think it's probably gonna be a little more in maintenance overall. So let's do 50. So 150 bucks. Anything else?
Is Wi-Fi considered a utility?
Nope, we got Wi-Fi. You're right. You need Wi-Fi. Thank you. How much for Wi-Fi? And or cable or whatever else, even Netflix, put that in there for kicks. Amazon Prime. Okay. So how much are we talking? Anybody?
I reckon
Maybe
it depends on
between-
how many streaming services you have too. So
Yeah, that's true. So ballpark, what are you paying now? Just to get an idea. I know when you graduate, you'll want to get more, but let's start. What's the range now you're at? And anybody can play.
I'll get like 80 bucks a month for the streaming services and Wi-Fi. I mean, Wi-Fi alone is 60 bucks. So
So your cable, your Spectrum.
yeah,
Okay.
sucks. Terrible service. Don't get Spectrum.
I got it too. Actually, for speed, it's not bad. And but they got you.
It's just very inconsistent.
So you got 60, 80 bucks there. And anything else? So let's go ahead and put.
It's about 85 because there's Amazon Prime. I mean, I have Hulu through my like student Spotify account, and then Disney Plus is what, 7-8 bucks a month. So it's about 80, 85, 90, somewhere in there.
I'm going to round up to 100 just to make the numbers easy because we're going to do some mental calculations in a minute. Anything else? Any other expenses you're going to have during the month?
savings.
I'll put that. I like that idea. Although we did kind of a forced savings up here in pension, but let's do savings. How much do you want to put in savings a month?
Let's just say 10%.
Okay, so that's 200. We've already put 10% for our 401k. Let's just put 50 bucks aside for savings. Okay, I like the idea of more, but again, we're only making $2,000 a month. We're making 12 bucks an hour. We got to be conscious. Okay. What else?
Injuries like health insurance, life insurance.
Insurance. Now, hopefully your employer is covering a bunch of that, but usually you're going to pay a portion. My company, I used to pay 100% of my employees' insurance. We had a decent plan. Within 10 years, but by the time I sold it, we ended up paying 50% because insurance got pretty crazy and we couldn't, as a business, afford it. So employees were paying more of their share. And by the way, I'm going to throw in something called an HSA. If you're young and you are healthy, you want an HSA, a health savings. It has major advantages. Bottom line, it's your money. It's a set aside for medical bills until you're 65. And then after 65, it becomes your pension, becomes your retirement. So if you don't spend it, if you don't use it, unlike health insurance itself, you pay it every month and they're crazy premiums. And if you don't use it, the insurance company says, thank you. You didn't spend as much as you thought you were going to spend. And if you do, that's why you have insurance. But then you have a high deductible health plan. We can talk HSA someday. But I'm going to encourage you, if you've never heard of a health savings account, do some digging. And if you ever get a chance to take advantage of it, that's the way to go. But I'm going to throw in an insurance amount here because most of you probably are covered or may not be paying insurance at point. But let's say we've got a $500, $600 family plan. I'm contributing. No, we got more. It's over 1,000. I contributed about 500. Well, let's say you're young, you're healthy, $100 in insurance. Maybe some extra life insurance. You can get a 10-year term or a 20-year term, $10 a month, $15 a month for pretty high. 250,000, 500,000. You can do pretty. I should sell life and health as well, way back when. So I sell lots of things. I even sold that.
Can I just say something real quick?
What's that?
We're gonna need a better job.
Yeah, you're noticing that.
We're way past our means.
Yeah, we're living beyond our means. We're living high on the hog. No, we're not. We got a basic phone. We got basic Wi-Fi. We do the savings. All right. Anything else you want to spend money on?
I personally have an emergency fund that I put money in every month.
I'm going to throw that here for now because you're right. We're poverty stricken as it is, but yeah, I like that idea. That's a great idea, and you do want to have emergency cushion. You want to have something that if the dog, which happened to us, went to the vet 4 times last month, once to emergency and 3 other visits. Well, we had a visit, a surgery, an emergency visit, and then another visit to follow up after emergency. So that was not a fun expense for the month. So, but yeah, if you have pets, we're not getting pets. Can't take care of them, can't afford them right now. All right. Anything else? Anybody
I
sleep?
don't know if we're living conservatively, I don't know if you'd want to throw a gym membership or anything like that in there. So
Yeah.
Buy a couple cinder blocks, it's cheaper.
What's that?
Buy a couple cinder blocks, it's cheaper.
There you go. I'm going to put that down the bottom. That's on our wish list when we get a better job. Anything else?
What about like personal items?
Oh, personal stuff. You gotta take a shower sometimes? I hope so. Okay. How much a month on personals? Maybe cologne, perfume. I don't wear too much lipstick myself, but there are things that you may want and you may need. Any ballpark numbers?
we could say like $100 a month because shampoo, conditioner, that can last a while, a couple months. So
You know what? My parents have some hotel soap. I want to use that. $50. So we'd be conservative. I'm trying to economize where we can, right? So personal, 50 a month, $600 a year. Okay. Anything else we need? There are 2 big things missing, by the way. Anybody going to work?
Renter's insurance is important.
Yeah, renter's insurance. I'll consider that include rent.
Okay.
Thank you. That's a good idea. Anybody going to work naked? I hope not. I hope that's not where where you go. How much in clothes a month? Actually, it might be easier to figure out annually. How much in clothes do you spend annually and then put it back to a monthly?
I don't know. I've bought no new clothes this year, so.
Oh, wow. Okay. Well, when you graduate, you got a new job and you're going to need to impress your new employer.
Yeah.
So you probably have to buy some shoes or something. So
Or put ballpark estimate of 200.
200 a month, 2,400 a year. I'm gonna throttle that back a little bit. Let's make it $1,200 for the year. Okay, I'll buy a suit and I'll buy some shoes and then I'll get some pants and some shirts and then I'll get some jackets and whatever else. Let's make it $100 a month for kicks. You're right. We need another job. Anything else? Anybody sleeping on the floor or do you want to sleep on a bed? I prefer beds.
Sleeping bag's the way to go.
Futons are nice. They have their place. But get a sleeping bag and sleep on the floor. That's okay too. But you need a dining room table, kitchen table. You need utensils. You need silverware, flatware, plates, pots and pans. Some people said, oh, I buy furniture once and I'm done. Well, frankly, you're never done because then you start buying wall coverings and pictures, mirrors, hangings, dressers, whatever. Let's go ahead and for kicks, I'm gonna throw a number on here for you. $100 a month, $1,200 a year. Again, so you are correct. Where are we at?
2,800 a month,
By
not
the way,
even including gym membership.
not including, how about average school loans are $30,000 a year when somebody graduates? Hopefully you don't have any. Well, if you have school loans, how much are you talking? I have school loans actually myself. I just got my doctorate just over a year ago. So I'm empathetic.
I mean, probably 200 a month.
That's probably a fair estimate.
I mean, I had a school loan before I came here, but it was $50 a month because it was only a $3,000 loan.
Okay.
So I don't know too much.
Actually, for the past 15 months, we've been lucky, or 12, 13 months. Schools
Yeah.
have been deferred unless you refinance with a commercial loan, then they may not have been. All right, so let's go ahead and see how much we're into. So we're gonna, I'll do the quick math for you, save you the trouble, and give you an idea of how much we're here. So we got 200, 300, 450, 650, 700, 900.
We're at 3,000.
Did I do it right so far? 900, 2,300, 2,400, 25, 2,600, 2,700, 2,800. We're $3,000. We are in deep doo-doo. We're $1,000 in the hole. That's not pretty. That's why people move back with their parents. That's why you get roommates. By the way, none of you went out on a date, or if that, your significant other's paying, which is kind of nice. That's pretty generous of them. None of you are taking a vacation. I always tell my folks, my family members, take a vacation every two or 3 years, whether you need it or not, get a vacation. Okay. So we didn't include vacations. We didn't include all kinds of stuff. Okay. So dates, entertainment, going out to eat. No one's going to McDonald's or Wendy's. Okay. You get the idea. All right, so let's get a better job. Let's double it. Let's get a $4,000 paycheck. And although our tax bracket will change a little bit, I'm going to go ahead and if we're looking at this right, I'm going to have, okay, let's go ahead and we're going to go with, color code it in blue. So I got a $4,000 paycheck. Now I take my 200, my 300, my 400, 500, 600, 650, and I'm going to double that. Okay, to 1,300 as with withholdings on my check. And then I'm going to take all these other expenses. They haven't gone away, have they? Okay, so I got 3. If I took away 650, that's 2,350. Trust me on that one. So I'm not in the red, but I'm in the black. Oh, that's reassuring. By the way, how much a year? Let's see, that's 3,650. So I got 350 excess monies now to go on dates and entertainment and put away for vacations and that gym membership. By the way, $4,000, how much is that a year?
$48,000.
It's $48,000 a year. And that's still getting a beater car. That's not getting a new car. So I know someone's going to say, we still need a better job. Or we need to budget right. Or we need to get a roommate or a housemate. Or we need to get married. Whatever it might be, that's not a lot of money to hang your hat on. So here's my attendance question for the day. In the chat, how many can tell me A, scary, or B, expected? Or I say scary or no surprises? Let's go ahead and put that in the chat. This was a scary lesson or no surprises? I understood, it made sense, or it's kind of scary. Somebody said it was a dose of reality, which was, I thought, a great comment. Okay, no surprises. So you got a budget. All of you are aware of that, which is cool. Excellent. Now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to new share. I did a presentation last year for the, here's our 2,000 hour. So if you look at this 2,000 hour, this is pretty close to what we came up with. And this was 10% federal, 4% state, 10% SEP IRA, 401k, rent utilities, rent 700, food 300. So about the same numbers, clothes, furniture, dates, entertainment, we included that. We had the school loan, vehicle maintenance. We were still on the whole 649. I also did a $4,000 paycheck, and we were about the same, about 350 ahead. So chances are you'll be making somewhere in between there, is my guess, between 24 and 48. But you want to have a budget. You want to be aware of what you're spending and what you're not spending. Where are you going to put some money? But dang is right. Well, it's expensive to live. It makes you appreciate your parents in a renewed light, because kids are expensive. Kids take a lot, even though they're in the same house and we're already paying rent and utilities, clothes and food. And then if they want a car or vehicle, or they have activities they want to be involved with, and they have hobbies they want to participate in, and music or sports or anything else that's going on, and camps and opportunities for exchange and education and participation, and maybe some travel. Yeah, life's expensive. Get over it. Thank you very much. All right. So want to make you, again, not to scare you, but again, it is pretty much an awareness kind of thing. I do want to share that with you. All right. So let's go back over to our liabilities. Got a couple of things I'd like to finish off with liabilities before we part for the day. And by the way, be ready for a quiz, not on Friday, but on Monday for payroll. I'll probably have some payroll stuff I'll talk about on Monday. So make sure you get the payroll exercises accomplished and payroll covered. But by the way, this is accounting. This helps you and helps others and other family members understand. I wish they had more personal finance courses in high school and personal finance in college. The spreadsheet, the tallies I gave you on the other PowerPoint, that was a presentation I gave here at FNU last year, talking about personal budgeting and putting monies away and having funds to do what you need to do. So those are things to think about and be aware of. All right, so let's go ahead, and if you ever decide to have kids, budget for it. Kids are wonderful. I've got 5 of them. They're not all so wonderful every day, by the way. If anybody wants my firstborn, we can have a discussion. We can have a special sale. No, I don't mean to go down that path, but yeah, kids ultimately are fun and great to have. All right, so let's talk a little bit more about a couple of other payroll and liability issues. Last few minutes. So 4 key areas of internal control. The person doing the hiring and preparing the preparation or preparing the payroll documentation and calculating the paychecks and keeping the time and issuing the payment should be different people. We need internal controls. So there's multi-period liabilities, unearned revenue. We've talked about that. That might carry over year to year. Let's talk about estimated liabilities. Okay, pensions, healthcare, vacation pay, even warranties. Warranties are not something, every time GM sells a car, they need to record warranty as an expense on that car, even though they haven't done anything yet. It's a new car. But they need proper matching. Every time Apple sells an iPhone, they need to record a portion of the sale of that phone as a warranty expense. So they record the sale, and then they have a corresponding warranty expense, an average estimate over the warranty period for the year, if it's a 1-year warranty. Microsoft lost their shirt. Many of you remember the Xbox debacle. Early Xbox power supply would burn out. Whatever they set aside as a warranty expense is not nearly enough to cover what really happened, because every power supply, unless you weren't using it, burned out. Some of them burned out multiple times. Health and pension benefits. Pensions are pretty pricey as well. And that's covered in more intermediate accounting, financial reporting. But vacation benefits, you actually record vacation expense at year end, you accrue for it, one from the income statement, one from the balance sheet. You got a benefits expense and a benefits payable. And then when the benefits are used, cash comes out, but it comes out of the payable. It's not expensed at the time. And then bonuses. You get a $10,000 bonus or even a $1,000 bonus, you don't get $1,000 in your pocket. That's $1,000 less taxes. And then the warranty liabilities, obligations. So GM sells a car, they know within the first year the transmission is going to go out. They know brakes are going to fail. They know tires are going to be a problem, or batteries are going to be bad, or something's going to go wrong. But they don't know how much and for who exactly. But they have to estimate it. And they sell you a car, they're going to put warranty expense on the books right away. So they accrue the warranty expense, sold it on December 1st, debit the expense, credit liability. And then on January 9th, when somebody claims some monies, might be just parts or parts and service, it comes out of liability. And then contingent liabilities. In the chat, if you were sued for $1 million, you had a business, or you had a publicly traded company. If you were sued for $1 million, should I put that on the books? Go ahead and put a yes, no, or other in chat. I got a yes, I got a, it depends. Keep going. Still part of class participation. Give me some love. Okay, $1 million. You know the answer I like, right? 2 words. It depends. So $1 million for Walmart isn't a big deal. Or McDonald's, they're being sued because somebody spilled coffee on the drive-through. They're sued for $1 million. Should they disclose that? Well, if it's a potential for a class action, if Walmart is going to be sued for discrimination, one person gets $1 million, but now there's going to be a class action, I'd want to know about it. How about my small business? I got a $400,000 business. If I'm sued for $1 million, do you want to know about it? Well, the answer is it depends too, because what happens if it's a frivolous lawsuit? How about somebody suing me because I hired somebody with a beard and they say, you discriminate in favor of people with beards. That's a frivolous lawsuit to me. And I would go out and say, I defend that and say, they were the best candidate for the job. Not that they had a beard. I don't not hire females because they don't have beards. I just hired the person for this job because they happen to have a beard, but they happen to be the best person for the job. That's frivolous. I wouldn't put it in I wouldn't disclose it on the books in the financial report. On the other hand, if there was a potential liability, I'll give you another example. I was actually sued. I was sued for discrimination. I was a convicted felon who lied, who was late for the interviews, who our attorney said, open and shut case, Scott, you win. It's going to be $5,000 in fees. Well, they offered $5,000 settlement. I said, I'd rather pay a professional than pay someone who's suing me for, they claim, yeah, they were in jail for murder. They claimed that someone attacked their girlfriend and they cut their heart out, literally with a knife. By the way, this is for a receptionist position, but that's a different story. So what happened? It turns out he lied about that. He did kill somebody, he did cut their heart out, but it wasn't to defend a girlfriend. It was just a fight he got into. He was late for the interviews. He didn't fax things over, said he was going to fax or send over, and he still sued us. It was open and shut case, except we lost. How did we lose? Well, they got their attorney said, they went back and forth, and it wasn't actually a lawsuit. It was in a commission in the city of Madison, Wisconsin. So what happened? 20 grand later, our insurance company, our lawyers wanted 10 grand, and I said, you said 5,000 max. They honored that. They collected their 5. 15,000 was collected by the other lawyer because we had to pay their expenses. 1,000 went to the plaintiff, and 14,000 went to the law firm. That's 19,000 to the lawyers and 1,000 to the guy that sued us. It also took management time. We also lost a hospital client because he did have a girlfriend who actually badmouthed us at the hospital we were doing business with, and we lost some business. On that note, contingent liability, it depends on if you need to report it. But there's remote, possible, and probable. And if it's probable, you want to book it with dollar amounts. If it's possible, you might want to book it for dollars, but you just more likely disclose in footnotes. And if it's remote chance, 99% chance it's frivolous, you don't have to worry about it. On that note, we've been married 25 years now, if anybody's asking. So, but I also have an ex-wife who's married 7. And that's another story. There's trust issues. Anyways, we can talk more about lifestyles of the not so rich and not so famous, but hopefully you gained some insight today on budgeting, on accounting, working with liabilities, current liabilities, and I look forward to seeing you on Friday. One other thing before you go, I do have a distribution on the exam, and I want to share with you there were 4 A's, 11 B's, 3 C's, and 4 other. I'm not going to be scaling this exam, but the vast majority were B's or A's. So 10 A's, 11 B's, 3 C's, 4 D's, or other. Mostly D's, so there's 1 failure and some others. Any questions? We'll talk some more. I look forward to seeing you on Friday. Thank you for your time.
Have a good day.
You too. Appreciate it. We'll see you sooner.
Hey, Dr. Scott, I got a question.